That sound like Fletcher to you? Huh? No. No, ladies and gentlemen, it didn't. Sounded like the unknown factor, I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure I know what my own voice sounds like. But that's besides the point, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is the questionnaire. Yeah. And, we just rocking, riptide, doing all kinds of things, right? You're going to get a little full tilt up in this bitch, but apparently he brought a few sins from a certain city. It's Jason Copland back in the house.
Hello. Hello.
Man, look, we've been bullshitting for a minute, because, sometimes that happens, y'all, before the shows where I got so much shit I need to edit, right, as far as to get more stuff out to y'all from just things that ain't done and things that are done and whatever. We ain't going into all that. But Jason over here is planning on starting a podcast, right? Troll like you.
I want to be just like you.
No one wants to be just like me, Jason. Let's be real clear. And if they do, they don't know enough about my mind and how it runs, because there are times where I don't want to be just like me. I want to turn it down like 3-4 notches on the volume, but it ain't possible, man. It's not. Yeah. It don't turn down, and it sucks. All right. So I promise. There's a reason I wrote lyrics. Ran on a higher gear. You don't want it. You wouldn't want to choose, right? Because if I could choose a lower gear, I fucking would, right? Because so many reasons. So many fucking reasons, Jason. I can't even tell you. Bro, yeah, we ain't even getting into the depth of my psychology and my problems, but check out Plush, right, by Wagner and his first interview, and he apparently doesn't have a psychologist, because I was looking for a recommendation, but he didn't have one, which was kind of sad to me, right? You ain't got a shrink, D, Jason?
No, I do not.
Fucking
It's not allowed in Canada.
What?
Yeah, we're not allowed psychiatrists up here. Yeah. The government wants everyone to slowly implode in a self-hating cycle. No, that's not true. I'm sure plenty of people have therapists up here in Canada, but I do not have one.
I'm gonna firstly, I don't know if anybody heard that. I don't think you did, Jason. I'm gonna throw something at you, babe. Sounds like me. Kiss my.
I said that sounds like America.
Oh, that sounds like America. I thought you said it sounds like. It does kind of sound like America, actually, though. As far as people ain't allowed to have psychiatrists, because God knows you want to go get proper mental health care here. You you better have that motherfucking bank. I mean.
But that's what America's about, isn't it? Having the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the cornerstone of American culture is the showing the bling?
I mean,
I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying that.
Is that your perspective from an outside perspective, man? In all honesty,
what?
Is that your opinion from an outside perspective?
Oh no,
I mean, I asked that sincerely. Like, I'm not trying to just corner you, Jason. Just to be clear.
No, the thing is, I don't really, I'm not really seeped in American culture. I mean, I am, but not like. Well, okay, I won't say seeped. I am aware of much of American culture, but I don't. I'm not. I don't really. I don't even know how you would describe it. I don't. I'm not like hungry to know more about celebrities and owning stuff, and this is so. A lot of it is past me. I don't. When people talk about popular culture stuff, 9 times out of 10, I have no idea what they're talking about. So yeah. And I don't think that is an American or a Canadian thing. I just think that's a me thing. I'm pretty not dialed in with what's going on in the world for the most part. And possibly because when I am dialed in, a lot of it is just stuff I either don't want to hear or it doesn't mean anything to me. So yeah, so I kind of take myself out of the equation, I guess.
I mean, just the fact that you say that about American culture. If you look at American culture, I don't know, and I don't know what I would say the main aspect of American culture is. Um, I think it's a blending pot of many cultures, so it would depend upon exactly where you were in the country. Um, but if you ask me, the overall culture of this country, like period, and this is the reason that we named the first album this is like America. It runs on murder, so I mean, I guess you would say murder is the culture more than anything else, which is terrible. And I wish I didn't
Yeah.
say that. Like I wish that wasn't my honest opinion of it.
Yeah.
But knowing what I do about a number of histories, mythologies, and everything, and all of that, yeah, I mean, you've got cops that twice a year are running drills as far as for school shootings. You've got so many shootings, like mass shootings in this country. You've got fucking cops leaning on people's necks for 9 minutes. You've got the fact that this country was started with the closest genocide that I'm pretty sure that has ever happened on this planet.
And no medical care.
Right. And
Yeah.
as my wife points out, a very piss poor lack of medical care. That's the other reason we have a track called Flesh Wound and Die, which sounds like some kind of horrorcore bullshit. Oh, I'm gonna give you a flesh wound in an alley and leave you to die. No, the track is entirely about the medical system in America and the fact that they're like, oh, you have a flesh wound, well, fuck off. We ain't got time for you, and they'll end up leaving you to die of it. So, yeah. And then as me and Dave discussed on the last episode of This Month in Comics, you've got fucking cops using the Punisher symbol as a logo, which is some of the dumbest shit I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like how like if you're supposed to protect and serve, you shouldn't be looking at Frank Castle as a role model up to the point where it was written in the comics where Frank Castle ran up on some cops and like, are you guys idiots? You have a role model. His name is Steve Rogers. You know what I mean? Like they shouldn't be having Punisher's logo. They should be having Cap's shield on their car if they
Yeah.
were what they're supposed to be. So
Yeah.
yeah, I wish it was bling, dude, but I think it's not. I think bling is used as a distraction to the masses to make it to where they really don't see everything I just said. Damn, it got really deep over here right at the beginning. What's up, Jason?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
It's like, anyways, let's segue
I'm
to
sorry.
something
I'm
else.
sorry
Like,
you even went there.
back to the fact that, hey man, you asked what the culture was, and I say that as someone that's lived at several different levels as far as economically, and I say that from 39 years, a 39-year perspective of looking through a lot of different lenses, and it's sad, right? And yeah. Don't ask me something on a political, like, I'll fuck you. You want to get deeper into this, man? I got time, bro. We can get deeper into this. What's up?
I don't have time.
You're like, I don't
It's the
want
reason
to.
why I don't watch the news. I don't want to know any of this shit.
Oh, look, dude. Like, legitimately, I cannot watch CNN, Fox, any of that shit. That's why we got a track that thrashes all them for being on some bullshit because 99% of the time they are. The only place I can get my news is like I watched the problem with Jon Stewart now, and I watched last week with John Oliver. It used to be the Daily Show and Stephen Colbert, but I don't think. No offense to Trevor Noah, I don't think he puts it to the politicians' balls like Jon Stewart did. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
for lack of a bit like Jon Stewart had a way of like looking at a politician and being like, "No, you're wrong. Oh, you don't think you're wrong? All right, let me explain to you why you're wrong. You still don't think you're wrong? Get the fuck out of here, right? Which was hilarious because they didn't know how to handle him because of how they would come at him. So, no, I understand as far as not being able to watch the news, dude. I don't want to break TVs all the time. That's why I don't watch the news. I would end up throwing hammers and shit. Like, I prefer to consume stories, comics, and, decent shows and this and that. But back to that, man, right? So you're getting ready to start a podcast, right? Because we need to segue out of this topic. So let's go to run with this one, right? Draw like me.
Yes.
What's your whole concept there, man? Because I assume draw like me, I assume you're going to specifically focus on people who draw, obviously.
Yeah, it's actually called Draw Like You.
Draw like you. Sorry.
Yeah, and it stems from the fact that that people are always wanting to know how other people draw, and then try to mimic it, and try to learn off it. And I've always been a person that believes that you should, draw like you, not like them. So it's kind of like just a play off that. It's just finding out how different people tackle drawing, and how they have their own unique way of thinking and expressing themselves on paper. So it'll be a show about that, just like talking to people that I admire, like admire their art and admire them as people, and keep it positive and talk about the things that they love in comics and what they bring, what kind of passion they bring to it, and that sort of thing. Yeah. So that's the premise of the podcast. That one day may happen. We'll see. I got to live through this Kickstarter thing, or this Zoop thing. I always say Kickstarter, but it's like Kleenex, it's one of those things where I desperately try to break it and not say it. But yeah, so I'm gonna have a project. I have a project that actually launches tomorrow on Zoop. So I have to deal with that and the things that kind of like splinter out from that whole thing. So like doing commissions and that sort of stuff. So once I do that, then I can take a serious look at putting together a podcast.
Do you, I assume after Full Tilt, you've got other things that you're going to continue, which it is Full Tilt he's referring to. Go ahead. If y'all want, you can see myself, John Ward, and Jason over here get into Full Tilt on the serendipitous quest that we did, where I accidentally booked two people at the same time. Right. That's only happened once, and we're going to try and make sure that don't happen over here at the quest. But it might.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny though that the two people that you got together were actually friends in real life in the same town.
That's why it was the serendipitous quest, man. Like, because the probability of that, based on the fact that I booked people from so many different parts of the planet at this point for this show, from the UK to Serbia to all over the US, Canada, obviously. Yeah, I don't know how it worked out that it just happened to be two guys that knew and were friends with one another. It was so I do highly suggest checking that out. Like I said, we get into John's work scratcher as well as we cover a lot of what Jason has done. But I don't know how.
Check out Scratcher. Everyone who's listening should go check out John Scratcher.
Yeah. And like I said, check out if you just want to check out the book, go click on that episode of the questionnaire, and there are links right there in the description to find Scratcher, as well as everything except the Kickstarter that the Zoom. The Zoom? What'd you call that?
See, it's just Kleenex. You don't say facial tissue or anything. You just say Kleenex, no matter what it is.
It's a Band-Aid. It's not an adhesive strip. I feel you.
Yeah.
But that link's not on there. It'll be on this particular episode as far as the link to that for Full Tilt. But man, I'm curious as far as starting the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What are your overall thoughts on that? Because and I say this from the perspective of someone that ran an online radio for right around 3 years, that being an FGR. That's no fucks given radio, right? It went from that to No Fucks Given Records. Y'all can check that shit out too. That's still around. The radio's not, but you can actually find quite a bit of what we did on the radio on YouTube. And it's done this for shit, bro. I think I've almost been running this a year now. Wow, that's weird to think. I didn't realize how close it was to being I've been running the questionnaire for a year. That was a strange thought, Jason. Sorry.
Happy anniversary.
I mean dude, I'd have to look as far as when the first episode was dropped. But from when the first episode was dropped to when it was actually filmed, there's actually a good length of time for a number of different reasons. And then we got dropping on pretty much a weekly basis. But then there's some weeks where I drop more than that, and just because of how things are done and whatever, but it's getting close to a year. What are your thoughts on going into that, man? Because I know, like you said when we were discussing it earlier, you don't intend to go about adding all the fancy shit that I have that y'all see right now while you're watching this with the background, the logo down here over me, and then Jason's name over here, and and like comic book pictures all flashing, and a fucking logo over here. I think it should be over here, right? So I mean, you're not gonna have to handle that. So what?
My
what
podcast won't have that stuff. No.
Slacker.
Yeah, I'm of the thought of that if it takes me too long, then it's taking me away from something else. So it's really about talking to people and just getting that talk out there. The idea of adding a whole bunch of graphics and stuff. I mean, power to anyone who does it, but it just doesn't sound exciting to me to spend the time doing that. So my podcast probably won't have any of that stuff. We were even talking about, I probably won't even say, I actually have committed to this, that I will not say like or subscribe to any of my episodes. So, so I've already pretty much guaranteed that it will never be popular, but that's okay. I've lived my life not being popular.
I mean, so have I, man. And in all honesty, like with the editing that I do, it's more it's for the people that I bring on. So that anybody listening or anybody watching specifically, because you can purely just listen to this podcast. There are spots where you do that, and then there's several other spots where you can watch it on video. But the video's done so, people who are like interested in the conversation can then see the work of the individuals, as well as, the names posted there of whoever. So that way it's like, okay, I know who the fuck he's talking to. I don't know. Maybe I'm extra, but extra, I don't know. It's what the fuck I do. Like, go listen to my music, bro. If it ever blows up, me and DKB's both gonna get shot. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd have links and stuff to people's stuff, but on a podcast, I don't anticipate doing video. So, so I mean, we would talk to each other like we're doing now. We would talk to each other video, but I don't think that I would do a YouTube thing. So it would just be sound anyways. But
hey, man, you can fucking watch this on video on Spotify.
Oh, I'm so out of the loop. I have no idea.
I didn't know until I posted it like that. I mean, I'm not even sure where you can watch this all in video, to be real fucking honest, Jason. Yeah. I don't I just try and make sure it gets out as widespread as possible because, I mean, I do this out of the love of comics and the creators that we bring on.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah. I actually just recently put moved my mailing list, my newsletter mailing list over to Substack, and Substack has some weird do a podcast thing. And I haven't looked at it at all. I mean, I could barely figure out how to do my first post on Substack. So the idea of like podcasting on there, I have no idea. But it just seems like all these things are starting to kind of become connected in a way that if you were partially tech savvy, which I'm not, you would be able to make it work pretty well for you, kind of having different platforms to, but I'm just, I got to tell you, one of the reasons why I want to do that podcast is because I want to talk to these people. Like they're people that I admire and I think are great people, and I want to just chat with them. So, if I had no listeners, it wouldn't be great for the people that I had on, but at the same time, it would be great for me because I would get a chance to talk to the people that I want to talk to about the things I want to talk about. So, I think and I think that's a positive. I think that I don't have an agenda to build some massive empire. I just want to have good conversations with people that I like. So I think that those conversations would find an audience eventually. It might not be a big audience, but it would be one that.
Don't tell people my agenda, Jason. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, the thing is, you know what, and that's fine. I don't care what other other than if your agenda is evil, but
hey, I said don't tell people my agenda. Damn it.
Like talk up your podcasts and all your stuff. That's great. It's just not something that I do. So, that's it. The podcast is essentially for me to talk to people that I like. If anyone else listens to it, excellent. But it's not about really building like some sort of giant thing, because drawing is my gig. Like I'd rather draw than talk on a podcast. But if I have extra time or whatever, well, then I'll talk on a podcast. It's all about priorities, really.
And thank you again for coming back here in the questionnaire a second time, man. I mean, I do get what you're saying. Hell, I mean, it's not like there aren't a fair share of quests, including a half a quest with Skylar Patridge that was lost. A couple of a PanCon that was a great pack of individuals that I've got to reshoot that was phenomenal, and then just a couple things that have been lost here and there that essentially just they did turn into conversations between myself and that individual or pack of individuals, that pack of a conversation between that pack of individuals, and no one will ever be privy to them for one reason or another because something happened. It annoys me sometimes because sometimes I'm like, oh shit, that was a great conversation that covered so many deep topics that were currently relevant or this and that, or and like it annoys me a little, like, oh god, I can't believe I did that, or I can't believe that happened, or those kind of circumstances. But at the same time, I'm very thankful for the chance that I was able to have those conversations with those individuals more than anything else, man. Because I can't tell you, and I've said this in the past on the show, but like when I ran an FGR, we interviewed all kinds of people. I mean, I had everything from the most underground person that was doing hip hop that, probably nobody had fucking heard of except a couple people, to a dude that had won a daytime Emmy, adult film stars. We ran a comic book show there, this, that. But more than anything, it was people in hip hop. Some of those conversations were fucking unpleasant. I don't know how else to put it, right? And it's because I got to a point where I knew so many people, and in the hip hop community, pretty sure you're aware, if there's beef, there's fucking beef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and nobody cares on, like, I'll speak on that motherfucker's name, blah, 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 this, that, and like, screw this person, screw that person. Whereas opposed to in the comic book community, there's not beef like that. I mean, I'm sure there are people that for one reason or another are displeased, but
yeah.
I would never expect a situation where you've seen, like fucking like some of the shit you've seen in hip hop where entire groups of people are jumping one another.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think any comic book character is going to get a cap in their ass over something, but there have been the odd feud. You got your who was it? Todd McFarlane and John Byrne had a big back and forth constantly. More on John Byrne's side because he's kind of a weirdo, but there's definitely those. There's a little bit of friction here and there, but yeah, no one's gonna
nobody come out swinging.
do a drive-by.
Yeah, or like even come out swinging at one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think that's probably that's I mean that's a positive of the industry is that people overall appreciate what others do and if they don't, then they don't talk shit about them. There's no upside to talk bad about somebody in the comic book industry. Why would you? I don't understand. Well, and that's like most things. If there's something that you don't like, but you like something else, why talk about the thing you don't like? Talk about the thing you like.
Wait, right there. Okay. Firstly, Jason, I fully agree with you. To the point where I'd actually I had a memory on my Facebook where it was like, look, don't complain and bitch about shit that you don't like. Just go enjoy what you do. Like I don't give a damn what it is. Like up to and including how people like to bitch about like the DC or Marvel films. Look, if you didn't like them,
or
that's
Star
fucking
Wars
fine.
or anything,
Yeah,
right?
or what, like
any quote unquote fandom. Like if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then don't watch it. That's why crap on something that other people like? What does that gain you? Just walk away. If you don't like it, walk away. I don't know. It's a no-brainer to me. But I work on a higher level than those people, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could explain why that is. I don't know because I mean I can't. And
they're not happy with their lives. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to think more than anything you're right because I mean, as the saying goes, misery loves company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. Just tearing down somebody makes that other person feel better. So they must be coming from a position of not feeling very good if they're tearing people down to feel better. So I have a feeling that they don't like their life. They don't like something about it, but they can't do anything about it or won't do anything about it. So it's easier to just tear other stuff down. That's my feeling. I mean, I'm no psychologist, but that to me, it's just generally what I found is the people that harp on things the most are people that are most unhappy. So,
and real quick, I just want to say, like, I'm not trying to say anything about the hip hop community in that overall. I just say that from dealing with a large portion of the hip hop community as in comparison to dealing with a large portion of the comic book community. You see, I'll give you a perfect example. In the hip hop community, it's fuck that, listen to my music, right? And that's what it is. In the comic book community, it's like, hey, read comics. Look, I'm making this. Y'all should check it out. But you just read comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't see any hip hop artists, up to and including myself. I'll be real honest when it comes to musically. It's not like I do it like, just listen to hip hop. Even though I think, in all honesty, you should technically just probably listen to hip hop. But it is the whole thing of you have to find the right hip hop because there's hip hop out there that's fuck off meaningless. Now, mind you, this goes with all aspects of music and all entertainment. Period. There's certain that it's like, dude, that's probably bad for your brain. Like literally what you're consuming is bad for your brain. And then there's other, especially in the hip hop community, where it's like that's something that needs to be spread knowledge wise because it's something that I feel should be known by everybody, but for some reason it's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I can't help you. I can't talk on it. I don't know much about the hip hop community. So, yeah. And I don't listen to the last real rap record I bought was like probably in the 80s. Like the Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy was probably like the last one I ever bought. And probably because what else needed to be said. That there is a great record. And again, no tearing down. That was all about social issues and building things up. So yeah, I don't know. I come from a different standpoint, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. What we do as Killer Factors, we do talk about a lot of social issues, but we do very much are like it's look, they've had enough fucking cake. Maybe it's time to eat them.
Yeah, well, I go back to American, how Canadians view Americans, and probably most of the world, is that you guys are moving very steadily towards another civil war. There's no coming back. There's no middle ground there, and that's scary. That's scary shit right there. Um, Canada is slowly moving that way. We've got our own crazy right wing fuckers that want to do stuff, but we're not down that road yet. Hopefully, we never will be. But man, I look down in the States, and I don't want to go down there. I actually, this sounds stupid, but I get a little frightened about crossing the border, and the stuff that could possibly happen at any time. That's it. I don't know. It doesn't sound like the land of the free to me, and I don't mean to be shitting on America. I really don't.
Look,
I know lots of Americans, and I love a lot of Americans. But when I look down into the States, I get scared. I really do.
I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, hell, the last, like, not this president, but the president before, tried to incite a coup. I don't give a shit who wants to say what about anything. What happened that day when they were running in the Capitol was an unsuccessful coup because it was ran by a bunch of dimwits. Like, because look, if you, dude, imagine if when that happened, there would have been like a dozen motherfuckers that was just like, oh, we're taking over. And they plotted it. They could have done it. They could have done it if like there's because I've looked back at that and I mean just strategically and man I hope I don't get arrested for everything I'm about to say. Like suddenly the show ends. This episode gets released and suddenly it's the last one and I'm in fucking Guantanamo Bay and shit. But
you might want to edit all of this shit out.
No, I don't give a damn, man. Because
I'll probably never be allowed to cross the border.
So. All right, well, I'm sorry if I get it to where you can never go to San Diego Comic-Con, but that just might happen based on what I'm about to say. But I mean, really, if you had a group of 12 to 24 individuals that had really planned like around what happened through the chaos of that day, just really going in and taking over in like true military fashion, it was fully possible because what they did that day was in no way, shape, or form control that situation. If you would have had people present that were in a leadership stance and were able to get those fucking those dim-witted individuals that thought it was funny to go grab Nancy Pelosi's podium and run around with it and post on Instagram and Twitter. God. All right. But if you would have had it to where those individuals were handled, dude, they could have taken over the country. It was just done by a bunch of individuals who were far too dim-witted to understand what they were capable of at that moment. Not that it was a good thing, especially with who it was being led by. For the love of God, make America great again is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard in my life. But at the same time, I don't necessarily know if that's headed towards the Civil War because I don't think there's a large enough percentage of people that would stand behind that with a gun.
I think the number of people that will stand behind it with a gun is growing, though. I'm not saying the Civil War is going to happen within the next 5 years, but it's coming. The militias and stuff, unless the government cuts in, those militia people that are stockpiling weapons, those militias will only get larger.
Well, they're all fools if they make it a civil war because it should be nothing more than a class war.
Well,
you realize
I can't really speak to it because I'm not American and I have no idea really.
Hey, no. Look, let's just take it worldwide. Let's just take it worldwide, bro. You telling me there shouldn't be a class war in Canada too? You're fucking bowing like people have been. Oh, the Queen is dead. The Queen is dead. Fuck the royal family. Okay, the whole royal family.
Believe me, my wife and I. my wife and I have our own views on the whole monarchy and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Is it?
And it's
Wait.
not favorable.
Is it this? Because it should be this.
Well, Canadians are slightly more I don't even know what the word would be.
Passive aggressive.
Reserved. We wouldn't probably say that, but we would say it in a sarcastic way that would mean exactly that, but we wouldn't say it in that manner.
That's passive aggressive, Jason.
Yeah, that's Canada. We're passive aggressive to a T. I mean, I'll crap all over Canada. We're the worst too. What we did to Indigenous peoples, horrible, unbelievable. We are the worst. We really are. We did the exact same thing. We took land. We killed communities. We're horrible. We're just like them, and or like the early Americans, like that. We did it. Yep. And
so wait, are you?
And
saying...
our government seems to want wants to talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. There's not a lot of support for First Nations people here in Canada in terms of getting them back on their feet. So we're no better. We are absolutely no better.
See, so that's what I say when people say it's an American problem. I say
that's
a
colonialism. That happened everywhere.
Yeah, it's a worldwide problem.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and it's all just a class war, and eventually, the Queen had enough cake, or the King, or whatever.
So now the King gets to have his cake now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like King, Queen, Emperor, President, whatever. Depending on where you are, eventually they've had enough cake. I mean, hell, CEO, if we want to throw that one in.
Yeah, we're really off comics here. Yeah, every political system has its pitfalls, and unfortunately, you guys went to a two-party system, and Canada is still we've got three parties, and but the moment that the middle and the left combined to fight against the right, we'll have a two-party system as well, that's the end. There's no middle ground there. There's no listening to people. There's no communication beyond listen to what I want. Whatever you want is not what I want, so I won't listen to you. We're heading that way. Canada's heading that way. So yeah. But right now we can dodge it because of the government system that we have. So
well, shucks, folks. The world is fucked. Let's talk about comic books.
Yeah, let's do that. I have a Kickstarter. Shit. I've got a Zoop. I have a Zoop campaign that starts tomorrow. It actually starts like 11 hours from now. No.
It don't start. Look, it don't
12 hours. 13 hours.
Do you really think I'm gonna have this video edited and put up that quick? The hell is wrong with you? It is already running and out. People can click the link in the description.
There's no clicking or subscribing here. Oh yeah, click the link to my campaign, but no, I'm just kidding.
No, you know what?
Man, this is going off the rails big time.
Don't click any links to anything that is under Jason Copland's name. All right, there'll be several there. Don't click shit, ladies and gentlemen.
Whatever you do, don't click it and go and back a book that will blow your mind in the best possible way ever.
I meant to honestly, I was doing it.
I meant to send you the pages to this thing so you actually knew what you were looking at. Damn. All right. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, because I've got like a preview of like about 14 pages. It's not lettered, unfortunately, but yeah, and then you would have been able to look at it and you would have known just actually how awesome this book is, because it is fucking awesome. So yeah, so I apologize for that. I meant to do that.
Because based on
my brain is like, because I know that this won't drop time that the Zoop's going, but that's all I've been focusing on the last 2 days is just like trying to get all that stuff together. So yeah, I apologize
Oh
for
no, no,
missing.
no, Jason, you're good, man. Just give me some of the pages as far as so when people have been watching this whole time, they're like, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. He didn't send them. They've been playing this whole podcast. Like these pages have just been showing up the whole podcast. They've just been playing right about over right here,
That
right
sounds like a
here.
lot of editing.
Yeah. Hey, look, man. I've mixed and mastered my own music, and it's one of those things. Look, if you told me to draw a cover, I'd be a week, and it would look like shit, right? Right. But
Well, yes, we all have we
that's
all
what
have
I'm
our
saying.
things.
It's yeah. But if you tell me to do that, man, I can throw that edit to you. If I know the episode was solid and there was no point to where like, oh fuck, man, I got to cut this and do that, because sometimes that happens. I can do it in a fairly quick manner. The thing that takes the most time is my fucking computer exporting it because of the layers of video and graphic and everything, and it
Mhm.
just compressing it into one solid file. That takes far longer than me ever editing any episode, unless it's a pan con. Well, no, I take that back, because if it's a pan con, the son of a bitch takes like 22 hours to export the first layer because it's 6 goddamn layers of video,
Yeah.
and and but I mean that's like in the time of it doing that, I can sit and read comics and do whatever the fuck I want, eat something, go have a cigar, just while because I can't do anything while it's exporting. I'm just waiting for the process to finish and push out what I've already edited together. So be thankful you ain't got to do all that, man. It's the
Well,
very
well, that's my plan. I don't want to do any of that. That's the beauty of Draw Like You is that
He's a damn slacker.
I will send a link to the person that I want to talk to. We will both talk and see each other, and then I will push stop, and that will be the end. Yeah, that's the pretty much the maximum time that I want to put into anything beyond comics or my family or whatever. But
We'll say I've got some things I'm going to be doing as far as to do some things and hopefully make some things easier on me. But like it's all about constant upgrades. Like I said, I'm sure the pen you started draw or the pencil you started drawing with is not the pencil you draw with now. You know what I mean?
and again, people that do all that stuff, that's fantastic. I would never say don't do it. It's just something that I have zero interest in doing, so I won't do it.
Well, and if you're not very good at technology,
Yeah, well, I'm the worst. I'm the
then
worst.
then I wouldn't recommend. And again, like I said, I had the benefit of I've edited a lot of shit in my days from running the radio and all that. So going into this, I had a very large pre base of knowledge
Yeah,
to be able to
that
handle it
helps.
that way. Yeah, it wasn't like I was like, I'm gonna start up a podcast with graphics and put a bunch of stuff in and I'm just gonna do away with it. No,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I really like comic books. And I kind of just wanted to talk to a bunch of these creators, and yeah, that'd be
See,
cool.
that's where I'm
Yeah.
coming from. I like comics. I like talking about. So maybe it'll turn into something. Maybe I'll have all sorts of graphics and stuff after a year, but
I,
I don't see it happening. But
hey,
power to
hey,
you.
hey.
Way to go. You put as many graphics as you want, man.
If you want to pay me to edit it, I'm
No.
more than willing.
I want it to cost me the amount it costs me to buy this microphone. That's it.
Yeah, because if you pay me to edit, it's $50 an hour.
Yeah, no, see, there's not going to be any editing unless I say something really stupid, which is most likely going to happen. Then there will be no editing.
Keep in mind, Jason, $50 an hour.
Yeah, no, that's $50 more than I have.
Or
So there
or
you
or we could trade services.
go. No, I got my own shit to draw.
Damn it, man. I was trying to get some cool shit drawn up for the show. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I barely have time to do the things that I really want to do. My next thing is to sit outside in the gazebo in the sun and just chillax.
You're throwing my nefarious plans to shit here, Jason.
Well, yeah. Sorry about that.
Sure, you sound real sorry, man. That was the
well, you know, us Canadians, we have to say sorry, even if we're not.
all right. So real quick, man. So what made you decide not to go to Kickstarter? In all honesty,
Well, I don't know if we touched on it on on the last time I was on, but
I don't.
it's okay.
Yeah.
We don't really want them to have to go back and try to figure out where I say all this stuff. So I'll just say it now. Zoop, essentially what they do is they build the site. So it's on Zoop. So they build the page. And then once it funds, what they've done is they've already figured out who the printer is. So they get files from me. They talk to the printer, they set all that stuff up, they get it printed. They're the ones that deal with all of that end of that. And then it gets shipped to them, and then they fulfill it. So it's painless for me. There's no dealing with any of the shipping stuff. There's no talking and figuring out paper stock and cover points and all that sort of. There's none of that. So it's very convenient, and it cuts out a lot of the things that I have absolutely no interest in doing. So yeah, and they're great guys. The Zoop guys are fantastic. So
yeah, and I see your point in that, man. As far as because we've talked to a lot of different creators over here at the Questionnaire, obviously, and I mean several that run Kickstarters. I could name off a good chunk of names of people that I know that we've had on the show that run Kickstarters. Just check out the past quests, y'all. There's some. I'd like to think that most of the episodes have been dope in some capacity. Even if sometimes we do get political and go way left or right or.
Yeah, you gotta edit all that stuff out, man. That's gonna burn so many bridges for both of us.
Well, are you serious?
Well,
Don't.
Hopefully, I didn't say anything that was inflammatory.
What we said, dude. Look, nothing was spoken that wasn't true, Jason.
Well, that's not to say that it should just stay unspoken.
But why?
You know what I mean?
Why? No.
So, okay. Well, when you're with a bunch of friends and you can say whatever you want to say. When you're being broadcast to whoever is on the internet, then you got to be a little more careful about the sort of thing that you put out there. I'm not saying that anything that we said was wrong. I just I just got on a roll and I have no idea what I said. So yeah. I'm pretty sure I was all right. I love America. I really do.
You could rephrase that as far as you love American people.
Well, I love Americans. But I love certain Americans. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the way to phrase it because, I think that's a really shit, man. We're about to get political again because you just made my brain.
Yeah, no, let's move off this.
Well, no. But you like national pride to me is a really odd thing. Like, I love the country I live in. How about fuck the country? How about you worry about loving the people around you because it'll do better for the place than you're at than it will for, oh yes, we're number one. No, look, nobody's number one. There's always a better rapper, a better artist, a better writer, a better hockey player, a better football player, a better basketball player, there's always the next step above. There'll be somebody better than Michael Jordan, Bruce Lee, fucking any name you could name. You know what I mean? There'll be another step above that, or already is, that people just aren't technically aware of, man. So that whole, I'm more for, come to get to where you can love the motherfuckers around you, because that'll be beneficial for everyone around.
Yeah. Well, I think that in rich countries like ours, we should be able to take care of our poor, and it doesn't happen. And something needs to be figured out about that. But who's the person to figure it out, and is it it'll be painful for people, and everyone would have to be uncomfortable, and no one wants to do any of that stuff. So
how about we just
let's
take Jeffrey Bezos and beat him with a stick until he agrees to do it.
No, see, I don't believe in that sort of thing, right? Like that's not something that I would want to do.
Look,
Amazon is one of those things that I'm against. I don't believe. Amazon is not something that I support. So I get what you're saying, but that's the pulling out your rich people and beheading them in the guillotine isn't really the solution that I'm looking for.
I mean, it's not. That's why I said beat him with a stick until he comes to reason. I didn't say cut his head off. I said let's beat him until he comes to the logical conclusion of, oh, so this is the pain and suffering I'm causing to everyone else by leaving someone dead on my factory floor and telling all my employees to work around him. Factually, has happened.
Well, he didn't say it, but the company did.
I don't give a damn if you think he didn't
I'm
have some.
And again, I'm not trying to defend him, but at the same time, I'm sure I'm 99.999% sure he never once was like, oh, just work around the guy. That decision was made at a different level, but that's not saying that it didn't happen and it shouldn't happen.
But it was made.
You can't blame him solely.
Oh, okay. You can't blame him solely, but at the same time, you can. Right? Let me explain.
You can blame the system that allows him to get away with that.
It's the fact that he set up a system as far as with him and his employees that they know if they don't keep up with a certain ratio, then they will all be punished. So
I'm not defending anything that Amazon does. I think that it's horrific, but they play by the rules that have been set out in front of them by governments and committees and all that sort of thing. So the problem is not Bezos. Like he is a problem, but he works within the system that all these rich people have set up. So
and see,
it has to change beyond. It has to change beyond a company. It has to change with the government has to do something, and no one in the government wants to do that. And so there you go.
But that's the fact that if they do, it affects their money as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the only reason.
One of the biggest problems in politics is that there's money in politics. The minute that there is a lobby for anything, is the end of democracy. So, people will argue with me nonstop about how wrong I am. But you know what? If there's money in the government isn't working for the people, it's working for the government or the corporations that are paying them or the people that are paying them. So your government's broken. And that's not just your government. It happens in Canada, it happens everywhere. So until there's a way to get money out of politics, corporations will always have that power to do what they do to the people that work for them. So, and
that's why, Jason, you need a full tilt in the way the system works. You know what I mean?
Is this our segue?
Yeah. I mean, I try to find one where I'm like, we're going too deep. So we're going too deep. So let's get into full tilt, because there does need to be a full tilt in the system, right? But man, I can't remember exactly how you described that. A combination of Blade Runner. Shit. What were the three things you mentioned? Help me out.
It's like if Blade Runner and the Warriors had a baby and the doula was the Godfather.
There you go. That was it.
I kind of cribbed that from the editor of Full Tilt, James Powell. He said something very similar. I think I got it wrong, but it was very much that sort of thing. It's like the Warriors meets if the Warriors and Blade Runner had a baby, and it was the the doula was the godfather. That essentially sums up the inspirations, influences, that sort of thing that go into the book. Yeah.
That still kind of makes my head just rattle a little. Like that's just a combination that I don't think I would have ever expected to quite hear together all at once.
Really? Yeah, well, it's
Mm-mm.
it's a future noir. It's a sci-fi noir, tech noir, whatever you want to call it. It's that sort of hard-boiled, noir-y vibe that is in a well, it's not that near, it's 200 years in the future, but a future dystopia sort of situation.
You did
Yeah,
it again. Talk about it's the near future. I was about to be like, no, it's not, dude. I remember
yeah,
you
I know.
saying near future, and then like,
That's an old hang up I had when I first started writing the book. It was only about 70, I think it was about 70 years in the future. And then I realized that the things that I wanted to draw, um, and some of the technology levels of things that I wanted to be in the world, probably not 70 years away. So I just arbitrarily said, well, let's put it 200 years in the future, whatever. Yeah.
so you weren't trying to have somebody reading this 70 years from now going, none of that shit exists.
Yeah.
kind of
And I
like
won't even
sci-fi
say
movies.
that the stuff that I quote unquote invented in this thing, like it's all, I'm not a visionary, so I didn't come up with some new technology. Let's put it that way. But we're talking about flying cars. We thought, flying cars in like 1950. Oh, we'd have flying cars by 1975. Well, here we are in 2023, and I don't see a flying car in the sky. So that's 50 years. I'm not saying there won't be a flying car in 50 years, but at the same time, it doesn't seem feasible, or even smart. Probably not a smart idea to have flying cars. But so I was like, you know what? Let's just stick it in the future, and then no one can really question whether that is even possible. Because in 200 years, we should probably have flying cars. Maybe not in 70 though.
And
We'll
then
see. I don't know.
you make me think of a great, I think it was a meme I seen where it was like, I love old science fiction writers from the 1950s and 70s. They were so optimistic about where we were going to be in the year 2000.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone would have a jetpack, and yeah.
They going out and colonizing Mars and this and that. And
Yeah, but then you saw like in 2001 where they're like speaking to each other on a TV. Like that's something, right? Like, oh, we're going to be able to have visual and vocal communication, and in space. Like, holy shit! Like, really? It seemed crazy. I think at the time, people watching it would be like, is that ever going to happen? That can't happen. There's no way that can happen. Um, there's definitely things that were in those books that seemed nuts, but have actually happened. So yeah.
That's true, yeah. And I mean, like you said, I don't think flying cars would be a good idea for society right now. I
Well, I just imagine like, you and your neighbor pulling out of the house. Like, think of at the same time, think of like how you have to figure out at what height who's going where, and is the person that's down the street flying at the same elevation as you, and like that sounds like a freaking nightmare. I mean, there'd have to be like some sort of sensor that would know, or a system that your car is tied into that would have figured out what level everyone was flying at, and what it's like automated driving. It would have to be automated flying.
I
And
figured it
can you
out.
imagine putting all of that on a computer? Oh,
I figured it out, man. I figured it out. Flying cars do exist. Because there's part of me that's like, I feel like that technology, like you could probably make it work, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but it's that whole, the military had the tech that we're respectively using long before we had it, right? You know,
Yeah.
because that's just the way the world works. So if the tech exists, I wouldn't be that bloody surprised, to be real honest. But maybe what it is they're trying to. This is why they're starting all these self-driving cars, because they're trying to get the tech figured out to where there won't be collisions between these self-driving cars. That way they can install it in the flying cars before they introduce flying cars, because they don't want to just give flying cars to us, because we'll all die.
Oh, for sure. Can you imagine? That would just be insane. That'd be insanity. Everyone having a flying car deciding to just go, like, and imagine the speeds you could probably get up to. Yeah, there'd be debris. You'd be walking down the street and there'd be debris flying at you all the time. You'd have to have like some sort of personal shield, like a generator that deflected all the car bits that were being rained down upon you. So yeah, it's not a wise choice. No. Having said that, it's in full tilt. There are flying cars in full
Do they
tilt.
have the
It's
shield?
fantastic.
Do they have the shield generators for when there's a mid-air collision? Somebody doesn't just get an engine falling on their head.
That you just sweep them up. That's the elite people don't walk on the street anyways in the future. They're in buildings and in hovercraft. Hey, I'm just spitballing here. I have no idea what the future's like.
Are you sure? Are you sure you're
Yeah,
not from the future, Jason?
I set my way back machine. I can go back in time. I just can't go forward. That's all.
No, they say it's not possible to go back. You could only go forward.
I don't know. Every time I put on an old Neil Young record, I go back.
Man, look, just because you're smoking the wacky tobacco and listening to some tunes doesn't mean you're time traveling.
It's legal here in Canada. You can get it wherever you want, man. Yeah, little kids sell it on the street corner. I'm just kidding. They don't. Oh my lord. There's so many ways to like totally destroy any belief in anything that happens here. No, the kids do not sell marijuana on the street.
No, that's America.
It is legal here though.
Yeah, that's America, and it's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The thing is, I think Canada was like, well, and it happened in some states, like in Denver stuff, where they're making a shitload of cash off the tax of selling it. So why wouldn't you? Well, let's not go there.
Sure, man. Come on. We've gotten real political on this show, Jason. Let's talk about why the Bible Belt.
I feel really uncomfortable with the way all of this has gone.
I want to know, like, really, why do you think the Bible Belt hasn't decannibalized or fuck, I don't even. Well, why they hadn't made this shit legal? I can't remember the fucking phrasing that I was trying to find, to be real honest. But there's, yeah.
They decriminalized it.
Yeah, decriminalized. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. I could not find the word criminalized for the life of me. Yeah, why they haven't decriminalized that plant, like within the Bible area, more the Bible Belt, more than anything? Because I can tell you. Oh, what you want to know?
No, I don't. I don't know, but whatever.
You're like, we've gone so off the wall. Yeah. Why not? Right?
Buy my book on Zoop.
Do you realize? The link is in the description. I promise y'all. Full tilt. It does really sound phenomenal. As far as
so bad, I'm sure I've lost tons of people that want to back it just because I've seemingly crapped on all sorts of things they love. I'm sorry. I don't mean any of it.
All right, well, look, I guarantee there are plenty of people that love cannabis that are annoyed by the fact that it's not legal. And I'll tell you why it's not, is because prisons are private. They're not owned by the government. Therefore, they are monetarily based. And if you don't have people to put in those prisons, they're not making money. One of the biggest things that they put people in prison for is drug usage, and cannabis is a huge part of that. If suddenly you take that away and that's completely decriminalized and you have to release everybody that's in on that and you can't no longer pick people up on that, the amount of money it takes from the court and legal system and the penitentiary system, The penitentiary. I can't. The prison system.
Penitentiary.
Yeah, the penitentiary. There you go. Jesus Christ, I'm having problems with words right now. The
No worries.
penitentiary system is a very, very large amount. And I don't think anyone thinks that the amount that they would be able to get back in taxes from taxing that is going to be equal to what they make as far as for punishing people for it. That has a lot to do with it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It usually always comes down to money.
Yeah. So go on Zoop and give Jason some money.
Jason,
right?
So yeah, so that you're not buying into the penal system.
And look,
give me
look,
my
can we
give me the money, not the penitentiaries.
actually here, let's make it one better, right? When all those places ask you to round up to donate for some place, I don't give a shit what corporation, any corporation you go to and they ask you, would you like to round up to donate to blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, I was
Give
wondering
that
about that, because they do that here too, where it's like, oh, do you want to donate $2 to whatever? And it's just like, what?
Let me explain to you why that's done and specifically why they ask for change to be rounded up. Because most people think, oh, it's a little bit and I'll help out. Well, what you don't realize is in doing that, you're helping that corporation get a bigger tax break through your
Yeah.
dollar because they're allowed to say at that moment that they donated that money to X, Y, or Z and write it the fuck off.
Yeah.
So it is a scheme and it is one of the smoothest things corporations have ever done to be able to not have to pay taxes by not even using their own fucking money.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Right? So don't donate that through any corporation. I don't give a shit if it's 2 cents, $20. I don't give a damn. Fuck them. They make the money, they can pay the taxes like everyone else. I don't give a damn what country it is, where you are. It would be better for the people overall. Go buy fucking comic books and make yourself more intelligent because you're reading, right? Therefore, you have the confidence to look at things at a higher level because you're trying to work this muscle right here, this muscle. Because if you don't work this muscle right here, it's going to shrivel and you're going to donate to such and such through such and such a corporation your own money so they can get a bigger fucking tax break, right?
That's right.
To hell with that.
I should point out that on the Zoop page there's a tip jar. People can donate money via the tip jar to me as well.
That's what I was gonna say. Don't do that. Go to Zoop, go to Kickstarter, go to some find yourself a dope comic, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Just
that's
period.
fair enough. Yeah,
I'm not, and I'm not saying because look, man, maybe there are people out there that just really don't like fucking sci-fi. No offense.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
I fully, and
Right.
you know what? There are some there are tons of amazing projects there on Kickstarter as well. There's a bunch on Zoop. There's a one called Crowdfunder that's Canadian. There's a bunch on there. Yeah, there's great comics being made by independent comic makers all over the place, and I fully support going and giving them your money as opposed to going, which unfortunately cuts out the comic book stores. That's an unfortunate sidebar. But on that note, for me, crowdfunding is like leveling of the field. It allows people that maybe don't have connections or it allows anyone to make the book that they want to make and potentially get it funded through friends or people that just want to back interesting projects. So I'm 100% behind crowdfunding. That's my jam right there. Yeah.
And not only that, I think it allows for more personal stories to be told sometimes that will affect people on a smaller basis. Not saying this specifically about Full Tilt, but I know there are things on Kickstarter that are done to where, you're definitely not going to get one of the big two behind them for certain because it's just something that's that might be a little off color in some capacity, but that doesn't mean that there's not somebody out there that would read and it would affect in a positive manner. You know,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
have to
Yeah,
think about that.
there's a following for anything out there. It's just trying to get the project and those people that would be interested in it together. That's the real challenge. I think there's an audience for everything. There's an audience for Full Tilt. It really comes down to being able to connect with that potential audience, and yeah, it's a little bit hit and miss. You never know if you're reaching people, but the possibility is there. So yeah, it's fantastic, I think.
Well, before I wrap this up, man, I just gotta say, right? The man had 3 wishes that
Yeah,
I'd grant if I
free
could,
wishes.
right? Right? In world hunger, in world poverty, world poverty. I got an English problem at the moment. And then have a Full Tilt campaign make its goal. So I want to point out
That's
within those 3 wishes, Jason isn't even being selfish because he said do 2
a
things
little
for the
bit.
bulk of humanity, and then no. And I say you're not being selfish because it's not like you said, make Full Tilt make Full Tilt. You said make it meet its goal to where
Yeah,
it could be produced as a comic. You didn't elaborate or ask for something extraordinary as far as, make Full Tilt hugely successful to where it becomes a film. Make Full Tilt, because there's far more that you could have asked for in that regard.
yeah,
I mean, sincerely, man,
yeah,
it's just the truth of it. But the 2 things you asked for first are 2 things that would be phenomenal to see, even if it was I love I don't know. Have you seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
I have. I don't remember it very well though. They're
See,
all a blur.
my favorite part of that, and it kind of stuck out to me, is when America Chavez is walking through and she grabs a hot dog and just starts eating. And Strange is like, "Are you gonna pay for that?" She's like, "You have to pay for food. You don't in most worlds. People just
Oh
eat
yeah,
what they
I
need." And then
remember.
Bruce Campbell starts beating the holy hell out of himself for like 24 hours. All right.
Yeah,
That's not the main reason I remember it, though. It's a funny side note to just see Bruce Campbell sitting punching himself in the face with what is ostensibly a possessed hand, because he's got an issue with possessed hands. For those out there that don't know, uh, you know, um, but just the fact of how they implied that, like, we don't let people go hungry in most
yeah,
universes. It's just,
yeah,
yeah, it's like there's food. Why are we gonna let it get thrown out when
yeah,
there's this dude that's hungry? I really appreciated that note in that movie, even
yeah.
though
It doesn't get said enough. There's not enough people talking about the people that are having problems in our society, which is really unfortunate.
well, I don't know, man. I think we said a lot that might cause us some problems. Are
Yeah.
you sure you want to start a podcast, Jason? Because sometimes you might get into conversations like this, and then you're gonna be like, "Should I even put that out?"
See, I would be in control, and I would have stopped me talking a long time ago. I would have
You're in
just,
control. You could have stopped you talking a long time ago in this conversation.
yeah, I know. Uh, but if I was put it this way, if I was had somebody on and I was talking about, we wanted to talk about comics, I don't think that I would have started talking about politics. So
Look, we've had a brilliant conversation about Full Tilt and truly gone into it with you, myself, and Jason Ward. And if people want to get in depth about that, they can totally go check that out. The link is in the description for Zoop to go check that out and get into it, man. I feel like sometimes, you just got to know the creator and the person behind the book. And I think there's something to be said about people putting pieces of themselves out like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I think people learned a little too much about me tonight.
I mean, I'll be frank. If people go and listen to Kill a Factor and a chunk of my music and some of the stuff that's coming out, I've said worse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
you know,
all right, man.
I mean, that's just That's just the truth. But like I said, make sure you go check all that out. Right. And I'm gonna steal Jason's line. Don't subscribe. Don't give it a thumbs up. I don't give a fuck. Look, I'm super dad, motherfucker. Have a good night, y'all.